this is Noreen from Joya Cards, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! For more of my Stampin' Up! Card videos, click the subscribe button and the little bell, and you'll be notified when my videos release. So today is, I'm doing North Pole Mischief. This is a cute little card because I love the little doggy on it. So you got to do the doggy. And I've got two cards, and we're going to do one, so stay tuned for that. But the first card, what the stamp really says is layering to me. So, I mean, what are you going to do with a layer? I mean, you can go on those sketches. If you go online and look those up, you can get some layering techniques. And all I did here is I used my rectangle stitched frames. And I love this paper. This is called Santa Express. And these are great, like whimsical kind of colors. And, you know, because this is kind of a cartoony kind of stamp set. But this is a 5.5 by 4 1/4 card base. And I cut with the largest rectangle stitched frame. And I did a frame inside of a frame. I left the real red here. And then I just stamped the dog. Now, what I did with the stamp is I used my blending pens, because this one to me, I think you really need the solid colors. I tried the watercolor pencil and I didn't like it. And I wanted them to be solid on the ribbon, so I didn't want to watercolor it. So what it is cherry cobbler. I use So Saffron for the kitty. The green is Granny Apple Green. The dog is Crumb Cake. I used bronze for his dog collar. So it's just some very basic colors. And all the dimensions and all the items I'm using are in the description of my video. So if you click on the little arrow and the show more, everything pulls up. So you know exactly what I'm using. You can also click on the links and place an order directly on my Stampin' Up! Site too. So that's great. And then of course I did the same thing in here. So just this Santa Express, and then I used the little paw prints on the bottom. So this is my first card. And here's my second card, and he's Naughty Kitty. So what I basically did is took this thing here and I cut it up. So, and we're gonna make this here. So here's Naughty Kitty. He's thinking about doing something naughty. And look, I'm turning him. Oh, he's got a plan. He's getting out the holly there, and he wants the kitty to kiss him in his mouth and then through his stomach, because he's going to eat that fushy. So I use Give It a Whirl, obviously. So let's go ahead and start making this card. So the card base is going to be real red, 5.5 by 4 1/4 like normal. And then I use that Santa Express again. This is just the best paper. And this is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I did a basic white, of course, 3.5 by 4.75, and stamped the Mary Mary and the little paw print there. So, and then you know what I did with this paw print, and I wanted to show you that, that's why I didn't do it, is I'm gonna make little kitty claws here because it's a Naughty Kitty card. So I made little kitty claws there. So that is the inside. So on the front of the card, we're going to start with that Santa Express again. And this is going to be an odd size because the Give It a Whirl, because we're going to be using Give It a Whirl, this major die here is not a typical size. So this is going to be 4 and 5 3/8. So 4 by 5 3/8. And you can nail that up in the middle of the card like so. Then we're going to grab another piece of that Santa Express. I'm going to have to order more of this, and I hope it's not back ordered because I have a feeling it might be. So if it's not and you haven't ordered this paper, get it, because it, you know, Christmas stuff goes fast the closer we get to Christmas. So anyway, you're going to take this at least 4.5, and I just left it at 6. And we're going to cut out this big piece here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that, and I'll be right back. So this is what it's going to look like. So we're going to put that to the side, and then we're going to grab this die here and take some basic white and cut that out. So I've already done that. And then this is really important. There's another die. It's this one here, and we're going to cut this circle out. And this is the buffer. This is really the trick to make Give It a Whirl really work well. So cut that out as well. Now we're going to make the kitty inside here. And what we need to do is we need to use our Stamparatus because I'm only taking parts of this stamp here. So I'm going to take Mr. Kitty here, and this image is just a cat, so not the holly here. So I'm going to line it up. So I have it on my Stamparatus. I just put this piece of tape here to remind me that that's where I'm lining everything up. So I have it in the middle of this first little section here, and I'm going to, and this might take you a couple of tries to get Kitty in the right spot, but that's okay. So I'm going to line it up here first, then I'm going to put this down, and then I'm going to grab my Stampin' Right. Now these are in the catalog. They're like $4. Like I said, if you go to the description of my video, click on this link, it goes right to my Stampin' Up site and you can get these. So these are fantastic. And these are fantastic for things that are thin, like words or lines. I don't know about coloring in solids. I'm not a fan of that, but for this it's perfect. So I'm gonna get the whiskers and the cat's head. I'm gonna avoid that holly and go down. I'll definitely grab the tail. Won't probably have to grab the whole kitty because it won't be big enough. Now, before I put this down, I also grabbed a couple of pieces of scratch paper, and I'm going to line up on the sides here because I don't want anything to go out of this area. I'm going to put the magnet down, and let's see how it lines up. Yeah, that'll be fine. So now I'm just going to do it again to get it nice and dark, and go through, and do it again. And I'm going to do the head again because sometimes you just really have to do it a number of times with the Stampin' Right here, and just like that. Now that I've got the cat done, I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn him again. Now, if you notice, I'm doing the cat, so the cat is this way and not this way. So you definitely want them to be right side up as you're looking in the middle there. So now I'm going to turn it, get it to the middle here. I'm going to put down the paper so I don't get the sides. And I'm going to put the magnet down. And I'm sure I'll break these magnets again. I think I've got, like, this is my third set of magnets. I keep breaking them. Okay, now this is really important that you take your chamois or something to clean off the cat. Okay, so we're going to clean off the cat. Okay, and then we're going to take the Stampin' Right again. And actually, I probably could have just left the cat, but I do want to, nope, there's a reason why. See, there's always a reason why I'm doing something. So I'm going to clean him off really good because I have to reposition him. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to reposition it on here so the kitty is in there along with the holly because I want to do the holly this time. And look at your stamp, see how much gap you have here, and kind of line it up. And move your magnet if it's in the way. And that looks about right. Okay. And then do your black again. And don't hit the fishbowl. So you could do the holly and the kitty and its back and everything. And he's a bad kitty because he's going to eat that fish. He's an evil kitty. And let's see if I got it right. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, good enough. I'm going to move this a little bit. Oh, and I moved it. So that's good enough. If you accidentally move it, you're done. So I'm not going to move it. It's good enough. So I'm going to move on to the next one here, which means I need to clean off my stamp again because we have to reposition it. So make sure it's all the way cleaned off because you don't want to accidentally get that on your card. Sometimes I'll even take these over to the sink. So, okay, I've got that. So I'm going to put this up here again, put it in the middle, take my scrap paper and cut that off. And then I'm going to take the fishbowl. So now we're just doing the fishbowl. So you don't want the kitty at all. And Fishy is going, what the heck is going on here? And I'm not going to get in that. I'm not going to get near that kitty's mouth because he's going to eat me. So, because it's an evil kitty. I'm a dog person, so all cats to me are like, why? Okay, so I've got the Fishy down. I got to make sure that that doesn't move. Okay, and now we're going to do just the fishbowl, not the kitty. Do the whole thing. Try not to get the edges, because if you push down, you might get a little halo. So get the whole fishbowl here. Hopefully he's in the right spot. Yeah, looks good. So I'm gonna do a little bit cleanup on it, just like so. Now we're going to color the kitty and the fishbowl. So on the other card, I used the Stampin' Blends because it looked better, because it needed that, you know, bright color, where this is not so much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that pointy water painter. So it's this one right here, and I'll put it in the description of the video. It's really important to get the pointy one because we're going to be doing some really intricate work here. So I've got my So Saffron out, and I'm going to start the water here and just get a little bit on there and start painting the kitty. Now, I did not use StazOn because I had to clean the stamps in between. Using StazOn, that would just be a nightmare. So try not to touch the black. So just trying to do as best as you can. So I'm going to paint this kitty, and I'll be right back. Now I'm done with the kitty, so I went ahead and did both. Now I'm going to do the berries on the holly. So I'm going to go ahead and just clean up my brush here on a paper towel and grab a little bit on the pointy painter thing and just very gently do the berries. And this is cherry cobbler, by the way. And I'm just going to do, and try not to get a lot of water. Try to get a lot of that water out, because now it's looking like it's going to smear a little bit. So that's okay. So that's cherry cobbler. Now I'm going to switch colors. I'm going to clean off my brush, make sure there's not a lot of water on there, and grab some garden green, and I'm going to do the holly here. And I think it's the holly, and there's a bow, but I didn't want to do the bow, so I just made it all green. So if you want to do the bow in a different color, you know, yeah, go ahead. But I just went ahead and made it all this garden green. Now I'm going to get some crumb cake, and I've already cleaned off my brush, and I'm going to do the sand right here. Don't get a lot of water on there because we use Memento. And do the sand in crumb cake. Now I'm going to do the stand there, and I'm using basic gray, and I've already cleaned off my brush. So I'm going to do some basic gray here. And I'll either like grab it off the pad, or I'll do it on the lid. Either way, it's okay, depending on how dark I want it. If I want it darker, I'll take it off the pad. And there's my stand. Now I put a little blue for the water for the fishy, Mr. Fish, that's going to get eaten unless he's a smart fish. And he doesn't get eaten by Bad Kitty, Mr. Bad Kitty. And I'm just going around it. And it's watercolor, so it doesn't need to be perfect. So just fill in the rest of the fish bowl like that. Okay. And for the fish, I went ahead and used Fresh Frieza. I didn't quite know what color to make him because I didn't want to do green and I didn't want to do blues. Anyway, so I chose Fresh Frieza. It's fine. Avoiding his eyeball there. And that's how you paint the little wheel.
Alrighty, so I lost my mic. Yay. Anyway, I'm just going to voice over here. I'm going to take that circle die, and this is the mechanism we use for the card here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that out in real red. And I'll go ahead and take the other die for the window that I used before. And I'm going to put that over the impression that it makes on the die, on the card itself there. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up with that circle, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, as you can tell, I made the die cuts in the big circle like that, and I'm going to take and snail that up and match it with the piece that I watercolored. So I'm just nailing it on my silicone craft sheet, which is awesome. Keeps my table nice and clean, and I'm lining it up so when you turn the wheel, you don't get that, image in between. So that's what that looks like. Now, remember that a circle we cut earlier. Here's a little circle. Now, this is the mechanism that makes the give it a whirl really kind of turn nicely. So you take that circle, and we're going to take take your pick tool and put a hole in the middle of it, just like that. And now I'm going to take some dimensionals and put them like 3 dimensionals on that circle. And we're going to create that buffer. You see how it nicely turns? It's because of that buffer. So go ahead and do that. And then grab the round and square brads. And we're going to take the white one. And I'm also going to take my dark real red in my blending pen, and I'm going to color the brad. So I'm going to go ahead and color this, and I will be right back. Alrighty, now we need to put the hole in the top sheet here. So we're going to grab that die again that we used on the wheel, and I'm going to line up the hole with the hole in the sheet right there in the DS paper. And I'm going to put it at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and put this through the die cutter here, and I will be right back. Okay, now that I've got the hole in there, I'm going to take that brad that I had, that I colored, and put it through the DS paper. Then I'm going to put the wheel on, and I really apologize for my mic. I can't believe it, I don't know if it broke or whatever. Anyway, so I'm putting the brad through there, and I take it off camera here because, yeah, so I got it there. There you go. All right, and then I'm going to take that buffer, and I'm going to have the dimensionals on the outside, and I'm also going to put the brad right through that hole, just like so. And now I'm going to, if you notice, the card is actually bumped up on they're called foam adhesive strips. And I'm going to take these strips, and I'm going to line the card on the outside. See here, the strips, they're really nice to use. They're way better than using a dimensional going across. They're a little higher, and they really do make a big difference. So I'm just cutting them to fit here. So I'm going to put them on all the sides, making sure that I don't hit the wheel, because if you hit that wheel, it will interfere with it turning. So you don't want to do that. So I'm going to cut all these strips all around, and I will be right back. Alrighty, so I've got all those foam adhesive strips on, and I've taken off all the papers, also on the dimensionals there. And I also pushed down the brad. So all I have to do is place it right there in the middle of the card, just like so. Next, if you notice, there's a frame on that window with the kitty. And how I did that is I took that die again for the window. You're going to see it come up on the paper. It's so hard to do this after the fact. But you see, oh, there's the die. And there's the real red. And I'm going to go ahead and die cut that out. And we're going to fussy cut it. Okay, so you see I've die cut just a little piece, and all I'm wanting is a frame. So I'm going to fussy cut along the stitching of that die cut there, and then just put it on the front. So I'm going to fussy cut it, and I'll be right back. Okay, so you see I've got that little frame cut out real nice. I put it on my silicone craft sheet so I wouldn't get my glass dirty, and I'm going to snail it. Just put snail on the frame. Make sure you got the right side. You want the stitched nice part up. And here I am snailing it. And then I just have to line it up. And it just really makes a big difference on the card. and just put it right under that brad there, and just kind of fiddle with it for a second, but it really does look nice. And all we did was fussy cut it. It wasn't a big deal. So this is how it looks. Okay, now we're going to do the sentiment tag. We're going to take the second and third largest of the longer rectangle stitch frames, do the largest one in real red and the smaller of the two in basic white, and stamp that you've been good this year, mostly, you know, because it's a kitty cat and kitty cats are bad. Anyway, I dimensional the white piece onto the real red, and then I'm going to find a nice place to kind of offset the sentiment because I thought it looked a little nicer. And we've also got these real red rhinestones that I love putting on there, which are really, really cool. But the first thing I want to do is the little arrow. See, here's the die I'm showing you for the arrow that goes where you turn the little dial for the kitty. So I'm going to put down some fine tip glue on my silicone craft sheet. And I already pre-cut one of those arrows, which I'll grab here with my tweezers. That is in the new catalog. These tweezers are awesome. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to dip it in the glue here. And I'm going to put it in the direction of how you turn it. And just on the edge. And I did it in basic black so you can kind of see it. I know it's hard to see doing it this way. But you see, that's how you know how to turn the card. So there we go. And now I'm going to put on the real red rhinestones, and I'm putting the rhinestones on the white part of the stripe so you can see it more. And I'm just going to put it all the way around, give it a nice little blingy bling. But this is basically the card, so that's it. If you like the card, like and subscribe. I'm so sorry my mic went out, and just like almost when my video was done, so that's why I'm doing the voiceover, which I don't like doing, but this would do it for me. Thanks, bye!